practice in the chakra balancing series. Today we're focusing on the throat chakra, Vishudda. So the throat chakra is associated with the color blue, and the element that's associated with Vishudda is space. So getting this feeling of spaciousness as we slow down through our practice today. And often people may have this misperception that Vishudda is about opening this element of speech and being able to voice your opinion or your desires, and in some ways it is, but it's also very much about listening. The throat chakra is very much about hearing, and in particular listening a little more inwardly and hearing your own personal needs and desires. So if Vishudda is unbalanced, you may be experiencing grief. You may be unable to relate to others effectively. There may be feelings of resentment. And physically, you may notice a sore throat or a stiff neck. There also may be hearing problems, and of course that difficulty in expressing yourself, and perhaps your element of creativity is feeling blocked as well, or a little stagnant. Whereas when Vishudda is balanced and open and energy is flowing here at the throat chakra, you do feel very expressive and assertive in this ability to express yourself positively, and that may show up in creative ways. You are also more inclined to feel peaceful and content, with a sense of stillness both in the body and the mind. And you can engage with others in a really positive and constructive way of communicating verbally and being that conscious listener with others. So perhaps that's something that's shown up in your life of late, and as we've been moving from the lower chakras, we start to open up here in the higher, and that is about bringing in a more conscious sense of awareness. So we're going to be practicing the Ujjayi breath this morning, today as well. I'm practicing in the morning. So that will be an opportunity to listen to what's often called the wordless mantra. So you can hear the sound of your breath, and that will anchor you into the present. So to begin with, sitting comfortably, and that might be on the edge of a blanket or a cushion, and just let those shoulders drop down away from the ears a little. We'll bring some movement into the body and then pause for some Ujjayi pranayama. So feel a little bit of weight through the shoulders as the elbows bend. And we're simply going to begin with some gentle neck circles. So you can drop the right ear to the right shoulder, and then let the chin come down along the chest, and then bringing left ear to left shoulder. And then returning in the opposite direction. So just these half circles, chin to chest, ear to shoulder, releasing back in that opposite direction. And of course, this will be much more effective if you combine the movement with the breath. So you may like to release the breath. Exhale as you let the head drop down. And then inhale to come back up. And exhale, ear to shoulder, chin to chest. All the way to the other side, and then inhale back up to the center. Before exhaling down and around, and may be able to even close down the eyes now as you feel into this gentle stretch through the sides of the neck, and feeling a very mild bind as you drop the chin to the chest. And ensure that there's space between the back teeth. Be prepared to just slow everything down and tune in to how that breath is making you feel in your body. Hopefully, as you start to release any built up tension through the neck and shoulders and jaw, you're starting to receive the benefit of relaxation. So just go back in that opposite direction, whichever way that is for you, and then eventually coming all the way back up to center, and we'll meet with the head just lightly resting on top of the shoulders. And on your next inhale, you can circle the arms all the way up and overhead and feel the spine lifting up out of the hips. And then stay tall as you exhale, the hands slowly down through center. Inhaling, reach up, and if it's okay for your neck, you might look up to the fingertips and exhale, slowly releasing down, but feeling the energy through the spine already awakening. So just once more like this, reaching up and overhead as you inhale, and then taking a side bend to the right as you exhale. So dropping that right elbow down, relax the left thigh, reaching up and over. You might spin the center of the chest up, looking up. So you've always got that option to open the throat a little by taking your gaze upward, but of course, just being mindful of your body. That top hand can come down to the opposite knee now and sit up a little taller with the spine. Let the right ear drop down to the right shoulder and take that little bend through the left elbow so the left shoulder moves down a little as well. And then you might like to use the right hand, not to pull, but just to settle as a weight on the outside of the head there. Separate the back teeth. Allow that breath to flow steadily, gently. Releasing the head just enough so you can turn the chin down towards the collarbone. That hand now rests on the back of the head, just a weight. Feel the shoulder blades releasing down the back of the body. Slowly lifting all the way back up, bringing that head back through center. As you inhale, circle the arms all the way up, looking up to the fingertips, and exhale down through center. And again, inhale. Any distractions are now starting to dissolve around, but in the background of this experience, so that you're bringing your attention more and more deeper and deeper under your skin, taking the hands up just one more time before you bend over to the left on your exhale, relaxing the right thigh, opening through the side body. Feel the pulsation of the breath as you look up. The top hand can come down across to the opposite knee and bring the spine back upright. Relax that right elbow and right shoulder, and then drop the left ear to the left shoulder. You may like to again place the left hand on the outside of the head, relaxing through the jaw and the lips. Just noticing what your body communicating back to you right now. Remembering to open Vishudda is not just to speak and voice your identity, your desires, but also to listen, to hear deeply. So lifting up just enough now, spinning so the chin moves towards the collarbone. Letting the shoulder blades relax down the back of the body. Releasing some of that effort now so that you can simply feel the breath reaching deeper into the body. Already starting to peel back some of the tension, the hard layers. And releasing and coming back through center. And we'll finish that flow by taking the arms up just one time. Exhaling to come all the way down and pausing with the thumbs resting on the breastbone. Relax the shoulders. You might even turn up the corners of the mouth here. Finding balance as you find that contentment in the stillness of your body and your mind. Go on and bring the legs out into diamond pose now. So soles of the feet together. Sit a little to the front of the sit bones. As you hold on to the knees or the legs somewhere, take a breath in, draw the shoulders back, lift up through the chin. On the exhale, draw the chin to the chest and squeeze inward as you round through the upper back. Now as you hold here, you can imagine this chin lock. Almost like you're trying to create that double chin look. So really squeezing chest up towards the chin. Release that breath, and then as you inhale, shoulders peel back, throat opens, and exhale into that bind, dropping back, chest to chin, chin to chest. Clearing out any stuck energy here as you inhale and imagining that you're radiating now this beautiful sapphire blue through the center of the throat. Your inner jewel shining brightly. All that you desire, all that you crave, all that you need as a human being, expressed wholeheartedly, without apology. After your next exhale, you can find yourself back to center with that tall spine, and either keeping the legs in diamond pose or crossing them back in if you prefer. You can even straddle a bolster here while we take some time in our Ujjayi breath. So imagine that the chin is parallel to the earth, so you've got this freedom through the front and back of the neck. People can sometimes be a little confused with the Ujjayi breath, as it's been known to be described as this constriction of the throat. But rather than constricting the throat, instead you're going to find an openness but create a more audible sound with your breath. And that sound is this wordless mantra that you're going to focus on. So to begin with, we're going to practice with the mouth open. And you can imagine that sound as if you were trying to fog up a pair of glasses before you clean them, or fogging up a mirror. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And just continue like this, imagining that the throat is a tunnel. And if you were standing inside that tunnel, you could hear the wind coming through the tunnel. So imagine your breath like the wind through the tunnel of your throat. And if that feels okay for you, you can now also begin to inhale through the open mouth as well as exhaling through the open mouth. While you continue, you may notice the temperature of the breath is slightly cooler as you draw the breath in and slightly warmer as you breathe out. But noticing already the sound of your breath. Without any restriction or tightness through the throat. So if that feels comfortable for you now, go on and let the lips lightly close. You're breathing now, of course, in and out through the nose, but continuing to find that wind-like sound through the tunnel of your throat. It can be really helpful to bring your lips into a slight smile so that you're sure that there's no extra tension being brought into this practice. The Ujjayi breath is this point of balance. The natural points of stillness that you can sense now between each breath. These points of stillness, those quiet moments between this more audible breath become the subtle gateways between your body and mind. Each breath becomes an anchor for the mind. As you notice the sounds arising and then dissolving with every breath. to let the Ujjayi breath fall away. Savor the silence that's present for you. Allow yourself to be open to hear the whisperings of your soul. Notice everything. You can begin to crack open the eyes and lean back onto the hands and bring the feet out in front and lean back as you take the shoulders back. You might look up and just stretch it out through the front of the body here. If you wanted to make this a bit bigger, this movement, you could come into your reverse table, either looking forward across the body or looking up towards the ceiling, but keeping that activity through the neck muscles here rather than just letting the head go. And then coming all the way down and finding your way onto the hands and knees. And we'll find our cat-cow breath. So having the hands spread wide, knees about hip-width apart. As you breathe in, you can scoop up the chest, lift up the chin and the sit bones. And then on the exhale, look in towards the navel as you round through the upper back. And you'll feel that chin lock here, Jalandhara Bandha. Chest to chin, chin to chest. And then inhaling to open. And then exhale, squeezing in, releasing deeply, and then one more like this. Inhale to look up and go on and curl the toes under here and find your way into downward facing dog, where you can allow the head to be heavy. Feel blood pouring down through the heart, through the throat, down into the center of the brain. You can practice your Ujjayi breath at any time during this practice. The Ujjayi breath, because it is a more audible breath, you will notice more easily when you can no longer hear the breath. So focusing on that wordless mantra, that oceanic sound. So go on and come down to bring yourself into child's pose and sit back on the heels. You could keep stretching the arms out or bring the elbows to the floor, bring the palms together in namaste and reach the thumbs to the back of the neck. Bringing the hands back down to ground and position for downward facing dog. You can come forward when you're ready and take the hips high. On your inhale, come forward into plank or take a half plank here. Exhale back into downward facing dog. Inhale forward into plank on your breath. Exhaling into downward dog. The knees can be off lock here. And one more time, coming forward on the inhale. You might like to bring the knees down and exhale to release all the way to the earth. Finding Sphinx pose, forearms grounding, press into the hands and the top of the feet. As you breathe in, lengthen from the navel to the throat as you look up Feel the breath pulsating through the front body, imagining that line of blue energy, sapphire blue, gleaming, and releasing all the way back down. Bring the hands under the shoulders, come up through hands and knees and into downward facing dog. And coming to the front of the mat here, so bringing the feet hip distance apart in Uttanasana, your forward fold. Again, knees off lock, a little or a lot, and take the hands to the shins as you breathe in and lift halfway, reaching forward through the crown, and exhale to fold chest to thighs. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, melting back down. Once more on your inhale, releasing into your forward fold. You could take a spinal roll here or bend the knees and reverse swan dive, but eventually finding your way up, hands connect overhead and exhaling down through center to find Tadasana. And take a moment of stillness and again that listening inwardly, noticing the inner environment, how peaceful it is within. When you can let go of all of those other external distractions and particularly your attachment to them. So from Tadasana, extend the arms all the way out and then bending at the elbows. Have the knees off lock and we spin around to the right side and then come back through center to the left. So an inhale to the right, exhale to the left. If you need to separate the feet a little more, feel free, feel that opening across the chest, taking the gaze from side to side. You could add the mantra here as you come to the right side, Sa. As you come to the left, Nam. Sa, Nam. Sa, Nam. Sa, Nam. Sa, Nam. Sa, Nam. And in your mind, one more on each side. Bring it back to center. Finding your stillness as you let the palms turn outward. Release the shoulders. Feel yourself inhaling from the earth up to the crown and beyond. And exhaling down from crown skyward, earthbound. Begin to shift your weight into your left foot. Take your left hand to the heart. Reach back and take hold of the right foot. So keeping the knees in line here. So you're drawing the heel to the buttock. Draw in a little through the core and up through the pelvic floor. Taking the left arm all the way up. And perhaps taking your gaze up towards the ceiling as well. Opening the throat. Stay with it here. I'm just changing positions around to the side so I can keep flowing with you. Maybe the head can reach back a little further as you take the eyes all the way up beyond the fingertips. One last parting glance and then bringing the left hand to the heart and bring both hands to the hips if you're able to here. We're stepping the right foot back, just a short stance into your pyramid pose. So feet are parallel facing the front of your mat. Holding on to the hips or taking opposite elbows. Inhale to open through the front body and exhale to lengthen out and down. And aim to bring the torso parallel to the earth rather than folding at this point and steering that left hip back slightly. You may be able to hear the sound of your breath. without that restriction in your ujjayi breath, but more of an opening to allow the breath in and out. It should be relaxed sensation through the jaw, the throat. And you can bring the hands all the way down to frame the front foot, bow the head to the earth. Draw forward the weight into the left foot. Take the right leg up towards the air, a standing splits before tucking the right knee into the chest and stepping the right foot down onto the earth. As you inhale, lift the chest halfway. Exhale to fold. Bending the knees, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up. Palms meet overhead and exhale down through center. So again, drawing it a little through the core, up through the pelvic floor, hands to the hips. Bring the right knee towards the chest and point the toes. Take the left hand to the right knee and draw that right knee slightly across the body, taking the right arm up towards the sky. And you can just find your expression of this pose here. You may like to take the right arm back behind you. You could even extend the right leg out in front if you wanted to take that option. Maybe bringing the head around to the right side of your mat. Maybe taking your gaze all the way back to the right fingertips. And then bringing the head back to the front of your mat. Take the right arm up alongside the ear. And as you lower the right foot down, you can lower the right arm down. Ground down the weight evenly through both feet as you take a bend through the knees. Feel the toes spreading. Shifting the weight to the right foot, right hand to heart. Take the left heel towards the left buttock. So trying to keep the knees in line here if you can. Firm through the core, extend the right arm up. You may like to look up. Looking up and beyond what you probably first thought was possible. And rather than being weighed down by all the what ifs, you can look forward, higher to the many possibilities. The hand can come down. Hands can shift to the hips, stepping the left foot back. Pyramid pose. It's a short stance, so both feet are connected, even the back heel. As you breathe in, open through the chest, you might look up. Exhale, reaching out, forward, lengthening. Feel the back of the neck long. Space between the back teeth. The sound of the breath. Victorious breath. In what way do you feel victorious on your mat in this moment? You can release the chest down, hands to either side of the front foot. Send the weight into the right foot and let the left leg float up into the air. Tucking the knee into the chest, placing the left foot down. As you breathe in, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. Reverse swan dive, breathing in. Looking up. Exhale, down through center. Shifting the weight to the right foot. Taking the left knee up towards the chest and slightly across the body as you hold with the right hand. Point the toes on the left foot. Extend the left arm. You may like to reach the left arm back behind you. Just play with it here a little. Trust that inner desire, the need to perhaps be a little more creative, a little more daring. Express yourself as you look back towards the fingers. What's the worst that could happen? You can come all the way back up through center. Lightly place the foot down along with the hand. Palms connect and resting at the heart. As you breathe in, scooping the arms up, take a baby back bend here. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and on your exhale, step back into downward facing dog. You might like to nod the head yes here a few times and really ensure that there's no unnecessary tension through the neck. Open and close the jaw a few times. Feel that release through the whole facial structure. Either finding child's pose or coming forward on your inhale to plank or half plank. Exhale to release to the earth. You could find Sphinx once more or Cobra, one breath. Releasing down on the exhale. Firm through the belly. Inhale, hands and knees, and exhale, down dog. From here, take the right leg to the air. Rather than opening the hip, keep dropping that right hip, lengthening through the right side of the body. Step the foot forward in between the hands. You could come down to the left knee or stay a little higher. Right knee over right ankle and twisting to the right side, bringing the center of the torso up and around. The gaze following the top fingertips. Last breath in. Release the hand all the way down. We'll take a standing splits as the left leg glides to the air. Pointing the toes, you may even like to be hands-free here. You could take the hands off the earth if you like. Go a little wider with your wings. Lower the hands, lower the back foot. A short stance as you find your pyramid pose once more. You're folding here and twisting that left hand. You might be on fists, fingertips, or a block, steering the right hip back. Or you could stay centered, of course, like you did before. You might notice that you can open a little more now through the thoracic spine, opening up, throat opening, breath full. Like you're taking in the most delicious gulp. Refreshing nectar. Hand comes down. Step back into your three-legged dog. Right leg lifts. Steer the left heel in towards the middle of your mat as you twist your dog, looking up under the right armpit. Bending the top knee. Releasing back into your downward facing dog. Coming down into child's pose, you might like to take the knees wider. Bring the forehead to the floor or make a pillow with the hands. Within your own personal cocoon, or a comforting, warm cave, find a contentment with yourself. And take that contentment, that assertiveness to express yourself in any way you desire as you find your way back into downward facing dog. With the left leg lengthening to the air as you inhale. The whole left side of the body long, open. Stepping the foot forward in between the hands. High lunge or low lunge, adding your twist, extending the left arm up. Keep pressing into that bottom hand and feeling the space from palm to palm across the chest. Notice what happens when you smile into it. Relaxing that throat. Every breath, pure joy. The hand comes down. Standing splits, right leg to the air. Reach to the toes. Find your balance. That left knee is off lock. You might like to bring the hands off the earth. Again, what's the worst that could happen? You could wobble. You could bring the hands down to catch you. Back yourself here. Back yourself. Express yourself. And bringing the hands down, the right foot with a short stance. You may need to hop it forward slightly. Finding your pyramid pose once more where you may like to twist. So lifting up. A block can be helpful here to give you that space to twist the chest around. Left hip is reaching back. Enjoy this sweet opening through the body, through the breath. And the spaces in between. Hand comes down. We find three-legged dog. It's really important to lengthen that left leg back first, then twist, so stacking the left hip on top of the right. Let that right heel just angle into the middle of your mat slightly. And look up under the left armpit. Coming back through center. Take the hips up and back, stretch it up. And then releasing down to the knees. From the knees, you can sit over to the right side. And come into a cross-legged position. Have the right leg in front, and then we'll actually step that over the outside of the left thigh. You can keep the right leg, left leg straight if you want. So lift up the hips. We want this twist to come through the mid and upper back, not the lower back, not the lumbar spine. So that right hip moves back. Wrap the left arm around the knee and already start to encourage the navel around to the right side, the lower ribs. Looking over that back shoulder, but without strain in the neck. As you bring the head back to center, take hold of that right foot with the left hand and reach the leg all the way out. Maybe you can twist around a little more to the right. That back hand is supporting you as you reach out to the floor. And coming back in through the center. You can find a reverse table here, or just sitting back into the hands and the hips and then releasing down just as we transition to this second side. So left leg is in front this time and it crosses over the outside of the knee. Lifting this left hip back, press into that left foot, wrapping the arm around, left hand behind you. Nice and tall with the spine to give you the space to twist. Space between the back teeth as the energy is now pulsating through the throat chakra, Vishudda. And as you bring the head back to center, take hold of that left foot with the right hand, and you can have the left hand back off the ground if you want, or you could keep it on the floor to connect and anchor. And releasing all the way back to center, where you can unravel the legs. Come down onto your back with the knees bent. With the palms turned down, place them underneath the hips. They might actually go further past the buttocks, the fingers, but draw the elbows in a little closer towards you. Then bring the knees in towards, so squeezing the knees in towards each other and towards the chest. And then taking Viparita Karani. Legs up the wall, and in this case, the imaginary wall. The hands should be supporting you under the hips there. Feeling all that good juju come down to the throat. Filling your own personal cup so that it overflows. Bend at the knees, bring the soles of the feet onto the floor. Take those hands a little wider now. Find bridge pose. So as you inhale, lift up through the hips, belly. Direct the tailbone to the back of the knees. Engage into the shoulders, the back of the head. And imagine you've got an orange under your chin. So you might lift the chin slightly. Feel that openness there through the throat, Vishudda. Exhale, lower the spine from top to bottom. Move those hands back under the hips. Bring the knees into the chest. Extend the legs up, the imaginary wall. Just relax those toes here. Relax the jaw. Find that easy breath. You're going to take that steady breath into your bridge pose once more, pressing the feet in. Inhale to lift. You may like to interlace the fingers underneath you and roll one shoulder at a time underneath as well. Lift the chin slightly, hugging in through the inner thighs to stabilize the knees over the ankles. Ujjayi pranayama. Encourage the opening. As you exhale, release the spine slowly, slowly down. Bringing the knees into the chest, extending the legs upward. You could stay here or you could find halasana, plow pose, lifting the hips up and taking most of the weight in the hips, so you could have the hands supporting the hips here, and the feet could reach over towards the floor or in that direction. So to ensure there's not too much weight through the neck, using the hands to hold the hips and encouraging the weight of the hips towards the other end, the opposite end of your mat, down where your feet once were. So there almost becomes this automatic chin lock here, this bind of energy. Embrace the stillness in between the acts of breathing, the inhales and the exhales. To release, do support yourself and bend the knees and slowly roll the spine down and reconnect the body to the earth. And from here, it can feel really nice just to extend those legs out, ready for Shavasana. Of course, if there's anything else that you need at this point, please feel free to do that. But rather than that being an automatic or a habitual choice, just ask yourself, right now, what do I need? Is what I've already uncovered enough at this point? Can I find contentment with arriving now in the stillness of my body? The stillness that's there for me within my mind. Can I be content? Open this energetic channel that allows me to not only speak, but also to listen, to really hear myself. At times it can be uncomfortable or confronting to hear the truths within ourselves. But what if you were to accept everything that arises with love, understanding, and compassion? And every breath that you sense vibrating here at the throat chakra, every soft sound of your breath leads you back home to yourself. Notice when you can no longer hear your breath. Find your way of letting go of all other distractions, whether it be sounds around you or thoughts in your mind. And continue to practice this very worthwhile journey of returning to your breath. You are more than welcome to stay here in Shavasana. Otherwise, why not join me in a seated meditation practice to finish the Vishudda class today. So do take your time to find your way to a comfortable seat, using props as you wish, or perhaps even a wall to lean against. I'm going to lead into this meditation practice by using the mantra Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa meaning infinity, Ta, life, Na, death, and Ma, rebirth. And to begin with, you can use your dominant hand. You'll allow the inhale to be silent, and as you exhale, you're simply going to say the mantra in your mind as you touch each finger. So it'll sound like this. You'll inhale, and as you exhale, sa, ta, na, ma, all on the out breath. Each syllable touching thumb to each finger. So as you inhale, exhale, sa, ta, na, ma. The inhale will be silent. Exhale, sa, ta, na, ma. The syllables in your mind, or you can say it out loud if you like. And here we go. Aim to slow the breath down to a comfortable pace, feeling each syllable of the mantra vibrating within. Vibrating with the breath here at Vishudda. Just one more round, repeating the mantra on the exhale. Letting the first finger and thumbs touch on both hands very lightly. Rather than using the movement of the fingers and thumb, on your exhale, simply continue to repeat the mantra, lasting for the entire length of that exhalation. The inhale is silent. As you exhale, sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. And continue. Along with hearing the breath, hearing the mantra, noticing those natural points of stillness and quiet within your body, within your mind. practice of the mantra fall away now. Let all the effort, all the doing fall away. Allow the many roles in your life that you consume to fall away. Simply be present with a content heart to see yourself shining, vibrant. Practice compassion, kindness, and love as yourself is reflected back to you as you are in this moment. You may enjoy this space for some time longer. Take a moment to set an intention to bring back with you into this day.